Again, I'm still here on the project, building capacity around my mouth, but I got something to back it up. What do you think? Let's discuss it. This is Samson Toll, Liberian Public Radio. It's Friday, so why not? But I want to bring your attention to a show that I'm going to be having tonight. It's going to be very interesting. I'm encouraging all of you, those of you that are listening to this video, to tune in tonight, because perhaps this might be some of the reason why we have all of the mess that is going on in our own country, because you have to listen to these things. These things, the trouble we've been having in Liberia didn't start overnight. These are things that's been happening from time to time. There are those who came before us, past generation, failed to recognize these things, and will continue to repeat them, and because we ourselves have not yet able to recognize and see if these things can be rectified, so that this country, beautiful country of ours, can be built just by our hands as Liberian. Doesn't matter who you are at this point. Concord country, it doesn't even exist anymore. We're all one another. We're all one country, one people. But if we do not understand why these things are happening to us, we're most likely not going to be able to find solution. So I ask you tonight to join me.
Yet, how does one begin to help people who swim on their own flooded streets to voting booths to vote incompetent criminals back into office?
Yes, that is a big question we all have to answer. How do you help people who will go to the voting booth swimming in their own flooded streets just to vote people in offices who are incompetent? And those incompetent people that are being voted in offices will also appoint people who are also incompetent. So this is like a big deal. How do we help our brothers and sisters to make sure that their voting rights are utilized effectively? They have the voting cards. They must be told how important their voting cards are to all of us. And so I'm saying, those of us that have this platform, this is not time for hate. You don't come into this because you hate. You must do all you can to educate the voters themselves, how important their voting cards are. Because of their vote, our leaders will be able to do what is right for our people. Join me this evening as I try to explore this particular question and many more that will be coming. Join me this evening at 8 Eastern Time, 5 Pacific, where we will take on this question and be able to see how much we can go. With your help, we, the Liberian people, will be able to educate our brothers and sisters that have the right to vote whoever they want, but they must do so with responsibility. This is Samson Toll, Liberian Public Radio. Thank you very much.
C'est au-dessus de moi, encore une autre fidèle qui l'Amérique n'a pas loupé. Quand il y a Sylvie, il y a un point qui a loupé presse. L'Amérique n'a pas loupé. T'as bien de moi avec nous deux. En ce moment, on va battre au moins néo. On t'a dit à mon moyen, on s'est battu pour moi dit quoi. Avec la locale.
Doing anything that people get to amend it. And there will be from 2005 to date. We're all doing anything. I've done something. Trust me. I'll be re-elected. You understand? So you don't need to fight. You don't need to destroy your country. You don't need to even condemn your country. You have to be inspired, peacefully, and then convince the people, persuade people. Politics is about persuasion. And it's about what you have done for your people. I have done so much that I don't need pay for. You know why I don't need pay for? Because Liberians love me and they promoted me when I was on a soccer page. You understand? And they were proud to be Liberian when I was on a soccer page. And I've done my best for my country. I'm a former peace ambassador. It doesn't matter what people say. I'm on record.
Yao, abela lokeyo, bivito jogbai, bivito inoba, artiste mo feyo. Manager Gigi, ouais peut jamais forcer ou si tu connais tu connais. L'animateur Choco Noscan Yassin de Toyebi, l'homme a tout fait pour Mivito, Aniche les deux.
Henry, I can tell you the problem of this country with respect to prices, with respect to health, with respect to education, are largely tied to roads. There are no roads. You don't see opportunities where they should be when you don't have roads. From up to 173 years, we only have one road. How do you know what is happening in Bapolu when you don't have roads? You don't go there. The prices of goods, commodities on the market are high because to get them to where they are needed. So there's no way you can, when I talk about road, I'm not talking about 14 road on the sidewalk in Monrovia, $50,000 road and make it $3 million. We're talking about roads that will open up the country. We're talking about roads that will open up opportunities, roads that will get businesses going, and dependency reduced because people believe their goods and commodities can get to the market. That's what we're talking about.
But we will prosecute and will confiscate assets that people steal and acquire by illicit means. I often say that in Liberia, when people get caught, they send their wife, they send their children, they send their relatives, whatever, to come and beg. I'm saying the Liberian people, don't come and beg. You know, don't come and tell me, oh, stand to help you get elected. He talked nice about you on the radio station. Now he's stealing, so forgive him. Stanley should have known when he was stealing that we're going to punish him. So there's going to be consequences. That's the first thing. Then we have to make sure we're paying people a living wage. So we did the arithmetic, we did the math in 2017 that when you look at policeman's salary or healthcare worker's salary or teacher's salary, by the middle of the month, the money finished. By the time they pay rent, they buy food, they pay the children tuition, and of course, they're not going to starve, right? So the policeman will pull you over, the teacher will accept bribe, they change grades.
Thank you very much. And thank you. Samson told LeBron Public Radio. I hope I'm audible enough. Tonight program is all about Grand GEDEH Association in America. And I'm tapping into the brain of a young Grandians, smart young Grandians who have done everything Grand GEDEH. And I'll be bringing him on here very shortly. But safety. Lord Jesus, we thank you this evening for bringing us together. Lord, we want to thank you for your continued protection. Lord, we want to thank you for all that you have done and continue to do for us. My Lord, we ask you to continue to protect us. Give us the strength. Continue to help us. My Lord, we Liberian diaspora, we have two tables. One table here in the diaspora, we feel family, put food on the table, and we also put food on the table in Liberia. My Lord, we ask you to continue to bless, and we want to thank you for the strength that you continue to provide for us. It is only through you that all of these things are possible. And whatever opportunity we have, we will praise you, and we want to thank you this evening. My Lord, bless the country, the Republic of Liberia. Bless the leaders of the Republic of Liberia. Give them wisdom to do what is good for our country. Bless the country, host country, the United States of America. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay, folks, let's get it going here. I have with me Prince DORBOR, who, like I say here, he's a very young man. Mr. DORBOR, are you there?
I'm here.
Why are you? I don't know why you're not in your studio.
No, I'm not in my studio tonight.
Okay, all right, that's fine. The reason I'm saying that is the lighting condition. That's all, because in your studio you have real good lighting capabilities, and so that's okay though, because right now you're just your shadow is just like a shadow. So, but people know.
Let me fix it.
You want okay? All right, okay, that's fine. Thank you. Folks, in the interest of fairness, Mr. DORBOR is like a son to me. All of them. I love all of them, and they respect me a lot. So I tell you, like, bro, the day anybody put their hand on me, the beat is the man when he's standing up. You think that your devil, he finished throwing the hand. So you're try me, the old man you see as well. You're try me, the people that behind me, you will not believe it. And I have prayed just yes, that
yeah, refinement.
Yeah, but anyhow, and seriously, in the interest of fairness, when I first got on board with this LPR going live and stuff, was Prince DORBOR, who was the first person to purchase my camera back here. And I still have it here. He purchased that
Oh,
camera.
wow.
And I still, in fact, let me just do this. I can bring it on so you can see the camera is here. He purchased that and close to maybe 5 or 6 years. So,
Yeah.
so that's some of the things this young man will do for you. Prince, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Toe. Thank you very much for inviting me on here.
You can call me Blaku. They call me Blaku in the community.
Yeah, Blaku, yeah, Blaku. They call it Blaku in the community. Yep.
That's
In the
fine.
GEDEH community, Blaku.
The community. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Double, I ask you to join me here tonight because Grand GEDEH Association just had an election, and my understanding, Madam Idepoa and I say were elected president and vice president respectively. So, but there are other people. I was glued to the TV during your show during the election, and there were some people that were writing that this is not legitimate. We'll get into that, but I'm just trying to lay out the groundwork here. So, again, one of the reasons that I ask you to be with me here tonight is that you have, for me, I believe you have more knowledge in the last 2 years or so of Grand GEDEH, all things Grand GEDEH, than many of us. I was with them, but then for some reason, I want to keep it to myself. We started slacking, but you didn't.
For some reason, you went international.
Yes. Well, not just that, we decided. Yeah. But so I'm asking you tonight to help me out. Can you give us little background of the last 2 years leading to the election? And all time is for you tonight. I'm not going to interrupt. I might come in with 1 or 2 questions, but I want to listen to you. Because one of the interesting things also is that you are a member of Quinamo District Association. And I watched you at one time. When I didn't go to Boston District Convention, I went to Quinamo District Convention, and I watched you and President Alex Yala, the way you guys were carrying on. You guys were so fair, and in as much as people were saying things, because I can understand Quinamo too myself. So, but people were saying something. Yes, still you and Mr. Yala were just determined that the Quinamo District Association. It's not about you, none was it about Mr. Yala. It was about the larger community. And I really, really admire that. And I want to thank you. So I know you being involved in Grand GEDEH Association, I know very well from the beginning that you are not in it for yourself, but except for the larger community. So please give me some background here, please.
Thank you again, Mr. Blakuto. As you introduced me, my name is Prince Miye DORBOR. The M stands for Miye. That's my GEDEH name, the Posse Crown name. And for the past 2 years now with the GGAA, the Grand GEDEH Association in the United States, as you all know that Yubote got elected in Minneapolis 2019. And we had a COVID 2020 and 2021, so we did not go for convention. And he wrote the board, and the board told him that we cannot meet because the federal government said nobody should gather at that time. So we didn't go for 2 conventions under the leadership of Mr. Yubote. Then Yubote first convention was in Kansas City, Missouri, which was last year, May, I think the 13, 14 like that of last year, 2022. And then his second convention was this year, 2023 in Iowa, Des Moines. It was last week, May, we gathered there, May 12th, 13th, and 14th. They had an election on the 14th. And then people started to leave after the election. The next day, people left. But they rigged my road. There are a lot of disagreement. A lot of Grand GEDEHs did not agree with the process. When we met in Missouri last year, we elected an election commission. At the May convention, every 2 years we have elections. So let's say the next election coming up will be 2025. Idepoi will be Idepoi hosting that election. So we met last year in Missouri. We elected an election commission. There had to be 5 people on the commission, 5 commissioners. You know that. So the chairperson, the person with the highest number of votes at that convention will be the chair. The second higher will be the co-chair, and the third will be the secretary, and the other 2 will be members. So we had the election. Madam Emilia Polodibert from Iowa. She won. She won. She had the highest number, so she automatically became the chairperson. And Nelson Gay Wright had the second highest votes, so he became the co-chair. And the secretary was Steny Flan. All these 3 people out of Iowa, Des Moines, for one reason. The people elected them from there. So then Gibson Jeru and Uriah Soon from Gibson from North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota, and then Uriah Soon from here in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, Uriah Soon. So they had the guidelines or everything. They started working last year, start putting out the guidelines when people should start a registration campaign, voter registration list, and the vetting process and all that stuff. So there were 4 candidates that applied to contest. That was Otavio Gilman. And Gilman came with Josephine's. He first came with a lady called GEDEH, but she left the ticket later on, and then he brought Josephine Slew from South Dakota as his running mate. Then James Yibote came with I think Moses. He's in Iowa there too. It's Mark Newman, brother Moses Newman as his running mate. James Yibote. Then Idepoi came with Idepoi first came with Christopher Kuya. But then when Christopher Kuya got disqualified, then that's how you saw it, and she had to replace him with Isaac Yanawet. Then Boti Tayon came with Dawo Kamara out of New York. So they all applied. And they sent in their intent letter to the commission. The commission had a vetting process, and few people were disqualified. And the Constitution talks about you. If I, for example, I want to be a president here for the national, I have to hold an administrative position in my state. So the administrative position, they are defined in the Constitution. That you got to be the president of your local chapter, or the vice president, secretary, treasurer, or the chaplain. These are the 5 positions that the Constitution talks about being an administrative position. So they brought Gilman's team. They disqualified Gilman. They say he did not hold any administrative position, and they disqualified his running mate, Josephine Slew, that she did not hold any elective position, administrative position in her state. And then on that same ticket, I think there were 2 people that they disqualified. Then it came to Idepoi ticket. Idepoi ticket, they disqualified her VP, Christopher Kuya. They said he was not he never had an administrative position. So he was disqualified. And later on, they disqualified her chaplain, that he did not attend 2 conventions. And according to the Constitution, again, Mr. I think your name is on that Constitution, because as I went through and I saw your signature to that. You pinned your signature, you did that. You guys amended that Constitution. You said the 4 closest convention, you must attend 2 of the 4 closest convention. So now we had convention in 2017 in Ohio. We went to South Dakota in 2018, 2019, we went to Minnesota. 2020, we did not have convention because of the COVID. In 2021, so the 4 closest will be, and in 2022, we went to convention. So there was that was Ohio, South Dakota, Minnesota, and Missouri. So when they checked the record of Gilmore, Idepoa, Chaplain, Jefferson Solo, he did not attend. They asked him all right. He said, I did not go to none of the 4 conventions. So obviously he was disqualified. Then they went to Ubote. The reason they disqualified Ubote was that the Constitution said that you cannot hold the same office for more than 4 years. And he was elected 2019, 2020, 2021, 2023, and 19, 20, 21, 23. So his term was this year, May, his term ended. So he got disqualified. The commission went to Boti's side of the team. They qualified everyone on Boti's side. So then people started to, and then the commission said, if you're not satisfied with what we did, you got the right to go to the board, because the board is the one that would settle disputes. If you don't agree with the commission, then the national board is the next alternative, is the Supreme Court. So people filed protests against. Gilmore appealed his case that he was a PR for Menye. Josephine Slew said she was once a chaplain in South Dakota. Either filed a complaint against Boti Tayon that Boti did not attend 2 conventions, as the Constitution said. He only attended 1, and Dao Kamara, who was the vice president, did not get his clearance from the chapter president. He got it from a local branch president. So those are things that they checked on. The board came in, and then the board did the findings or whatever, and they called the election commission, say, look, you guys are going according to the Constitution, but some people here are aggrieved, and they brought the cases to us. So we have to call you guys, and then we have to talk about it. Well, the board, when they gave the cases of these people, they said, first of all, the election commission said they could not get record of those conventions because, the Ubote did not get record from Menye. Menye said he did not get record from Fred Boyan. So it was just a little mess in the process there. So the election commission said, well, since it didn't affect anyone, the attending convention didn't affect anyone, we're going to let everybody slide. But either said no. Even Marco Goa, he filed a complaint too. He said, no, they have to go according to the Constitution. Saying they want to go according to the Constitution and disqualify people, they have to follow the Constitution. So the board wrote and said, follow the Constitution. And the reason they said they should get to Boti because there was a show that Boti went on, and I'm on your show now. You asked me a question and I explained. And they said that Boti went on Daniel Freeman's show, and he said since 2015 in Phoenix, Arizona. From that Phoenix, Arizona, the next convention he went to was 2019. So obviously when you're counting from 2017 to 2022, that only one convention Boti went to. So they filed a complaints against Boti, they filed a complaint against Dao Kamara. Later on, the election commission went and heard people who said they should reconsider them, and they did not reconsider them. They say, look, we want to stand with our decision. You guys did not hold this administrative position. We're going to disqualify you. The board and the election commission got into a serious argument about who is the head of this, who is the independent, and who is over their friend. It was just a muscle flexing, Mr. Toe. So after that, the National Board of Directors felt that the election commission was not listening to them or following the rules or the Constitution. They impinged the whole they impinged the whole commission. The commission that was elected by the people in Kansas City. They impinged them. They impinged them according to the Constitution. I think it's Article 9 or something. It says that the board can impinge any elected official. So when the board impinged those guys, the chairperson for the board, for the commission, Madam Emilia Bear, she wrote the board and asked for lien. She wrote the board and said they should forgive them. They should reconsider the decision. So the board called her in front of them and she appealed and this and that. But they see the other guys like Nelson Gay, right? Gibson Jeru, Uriah Soon, and Stanley Flan was being defined. So they only reconsider the board chair, the chairperson of that commission, which are the media Polo the bear. So she stayed on there, and the board went and elected 4 other people to add to Madam Bear to carry on the election. Now the problem here with a lot of Nigerians and my friend Bobby and all these people, their concern they raised was very legitimate. They raised legal issue. They say the board can impeach. We agree. But the Constitution said the board cannot appoint. The board does not have the authority to appoint any elected official. So let's say the board have to go to the conference and ask the conference, say, look, we impeach these people. So now we are here at the conference. You all have to elect new people to replace the 4 people. But the board did not do it. The board elected among themselves. They cast wherever ballot and wherever ballot among the Nigerians and they elected new people. That was Eric Tay. You know Eric Tay from Arizona. Eric Tay won the highest vote among the board members, so he became the co-chair because they already had chair person who had Amelia Bear. She didn't get affected. She was affected and she appealed and reconsidered her. So then Eric Tay came on there. Alvin Talley from Missouri came on. Delene Brown from Pennsylvania came on. And then who was the 4th person? The 4th person was 1 minute. Eric Tay, Delene Brown, and Demetrius Ware. Demetrius Ware from Iowa, Des Moines. They took away sister born president. Right. So they formed this. Out of these 4 people, they had them sworn in live on they used my podcast, my StreamYard, and to show to the Nigerians. Omika Kala came, and then the so other people with Bob Moses Zwine, Eric Korn, they came in, and then they took the oath of office. So these 4 people came there. Later on, Delene Brown resigned for personal reason, and then they replaced Delene Brown with Gabriel Myers Jr. And then 1 week for the election, what's his name? Demetrius Ware resigned for personal reason also. So there were just 4 people that conducted the election. That was my Emilia Bear, Alvin Talley, Eric Tay, and Emilia Polo de Bear. The 4 people conducted the election over there. But the process was very tense. I don't know if you follow the whole process from my podcast or bringing people. It was tense. That the voting camp said they were qualified by the legitimate body, the election commission, and this other commission had no right to come and disqualify them, to disqualify them. So they felt that they were still in the race. So I mean, they had the membership committee chair, Mr. Sam Ewer, he collected almost 1,200 names, registered voters. They pass it on to the new. So now the board and the administration were working with this new commission. They are getting rid of Nelson Gay, right? Gibson, Jeru, Stanley Flan, and Uriah Soon. So they're working with Emilia Polo de Bear, Eric Tay, Alvin Talley, and Gabriel Myers Jr. We went to Iowa last week. Delegates started to arrive. People started to arrive.
Mr. DORBOR, thank you for bringing us to that point. Let's go through a little bit here. Let's go through. I have the Constitution before me here, as you know. I correctly stated here. I'm one of the.
You were one of those guy who amended the Constitution.
No, the original drafter of the Constitution.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Collins and other people who amended it in 2010.
Yes. So I am one of the members of the original drafter. The interesting thing, my sister Manta Connor, who was the chairman at the time, she was about 9 months pregnant when we were going through all of that. At that time, also, we didn't even have. There was no fax. There was no pager. That was the day before pager. That was the day before fax, and it was very difficult. Some of us has to drive from Ohio, go back to Philadelphia, and then get with people, go to New York, and all that stuff. It was,
wow.
yeah, it was very difficult. But let me ask you this: when Gene Djibouti wrote the bull and asked the bull that because of COVID, that there will be no convention on his watch because of COVID. Was the bull? The bull say okay, and that you should continue to lead, or did the bull suggest some sort of compromise? In other words, suggest someone else to take over interim government, or they just left it with Djibouti to run it?
They wrote James and said he should continue his administrative function.
Okay. So
for time indefinite.
Yes. So now if the board, here's the interesting thing now. You can't have it both ways. The board, according to the Constitution, second highest decision-making body besides the conference. So if the board have given Djibouti the mandate, so Djibouti mandate, election mandate or election, the electoral process that brought him to power, the mandate of that is supposed to be 2 years, and then you go for election and he can be
that means Gene Djibouti was supposed to take the organization 2021.
2021
election.
2021 there was no election.
Yeah,
so
COVID.
Because of that, then we have to, I think, to be fair, Djibouti should have been in the 2019 2021 election. No election. So he's still serving that time.
Yeah, he served 2022 and then 23 just ended March. I mean, May 13th. Yes. It was before midnight. Before midnight, his time expired. So literally, he been there 4 years. That was the argument.
Okay, but the 4 years that he was there for, he was only there for realistically, he was only there for 2 years. Because the other 2 years were based on the agreement with the board. It has nothing to do with the constitutional electoral process that is limited in the Constitution.
Yeah.
So the fact that the board have asked Djibouti to lead on behalf, Djibouti could have said, no, I will wait for the next election. You'll find somebody else. I'll wait for next election and seek re-election.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that he didn't do that, I think that the board and many of Grangians should have given Djibouti some sort of a latitude to say, go for the, I think that this qualification, I think, is not something in good faith. Constitutional.
And Mr. Toh, a lot of Grangians were calling for special election because they said we've been indoor all these years. We never met the Grangians meeting. So this election, it should be special election. All these people who apply, give them the chance to go. When whoever wins, wins. That was a certain group of the Grangians calling for that. And other groups saying, no, James cannot go for more than, because if James goes to this election and wins, that means he will be serving 6 years. 10. That's what they're saying.
In reality. But according to the Constitution, he will only be serving 4 years.
Yep.
Because if it wasn't for the disease, Grand Gideon would have had election.
Yeah, we're going to have election. We're going to gather. We're going to have election.
Interesting thing here, Gene Djibouti is a very smart young man. What he did was he wrote the ball. He said the issue we're having, he didn't sit down and let it just pass by. He wrote the ball. And the board, knowing fully well that they could not have the convention, authorized Djibouti, pretty much like appointing him as an interim government.
But in the letter, the commission and other people say that in the letter, they did not say interim. They say he should continue his administrative functions. So that means he was continuing. He was, it was very complicated.
Yeah,
it was a serious issue.
I agree. Now, Djibouti too, when he got,
but then again, Mr. Toh, and when the commission, because the commission have to have things in front of them to work, so they try to get to the board to come and clarify and explain to them their letter, what they meant. But unfortunately, they could not get the bull. The bull said the email they were sending was not, they didn't get to them. It was just a complicated thing, you know. It was a complicated thing. But then unfortunately, James Djibouti would deny. He said, okay, I will accept, but I will take my people to convention. So he funded the I was on radical, they're going to say, I'm not funding the convention. I'm not signing nothing to get money to you to go have convention.
Right, right.
Well, he funded the convention, and the people went, they met, he presided over the process. And then, even though he came at the convention, which will, of course, we'll get to at the election ground, and he said the process was not legal, but later on he agreed and turned things over to Edith White after she was declared winner.
James Djibouti have always been, you know, he's hot temper. We all know that, but he has always been someone of a good heart. Number one,
yeah,
he took Quinabo district to a next level. When he left, in another person who then started doing tabata with the people money and things like that. They brought James Djibouti back, and he was able to satisfactorily bring the association to the level building structure. So James Djibouti has been doing good in the community here. I know very well. He's had hot temper. I know that. But besides that, he's always in line with community, meaning Grangidians. And that came here, didn't have paper. They used his book, not just Grangidians, many Liberians use his book, qualify for asylum. I can attest to that. So he's always been around to help people, and we really appreciate that. But I think this one, and it's okay. It's okay. He has done his best, but I think on this one here, constitutionally, I mean logically, not constitutionally, but logically, I think James Djibouti should not have been disqualified. Now let's go back on this. The board and the election commissioners. The board, as according to the Constitution, they have the right to investigate and impeach. Fine. But they do not have the right, according to the Constitution, to appoint. But
to appoint, yeah.
Yes, the interesting thing, only the appointment process can be done. I mean, administrative appointment process like the election commission can only be done during conference. But the Constitution also states that give the order of importance in the organization, the conference, then the board. It also states where there is the board, if the conference is not there, the board is the second decision-making body.
Yes.
So the board can come back to you and say, there's no conference, we are the conference. And there's nothing you can say about that. You can't say you're not conference, according to the Constitution. If the board come out and say, we are the conference, they can do that. They can do that. Because you unless but in fact, I don't think they will be compared by any court. I'm not a lawyer, don't get me wrong, but I don't believe that they will be compared by any court to force Grangidian to a conference. And that's why, because of those kinds of stuff, because of the emergency situation, those of us that were involved, we recognize that not every time we're going to have a convention, there might be some situation where the emergency situation might comes up. And therefore, we should then empower the board to act on behalf of the conference. See, even though we didn't have no facts those days, we didn't have many, but we were thinking ahead. Even as much as she was 9 months pregnant, Madam Kana made sure, and Mr. Cooper made sure each of us took the paper home and did our homework. And we seriously did our homework.
It did not say in collaboration with the administration.
You mean the
appointment?
The appointment. No, in fact, the appointment issue with the board is silent. It's silent. They did not say the board can appoint or cannot appoint. What happened was, the conference, you can elect the election commissioner during the conference. People like the election commissioner and things cannot be appointed. That's fine. Yeah. But what I'm saying to you is, when we went out and said, okay, the Constitution should, in case of an emergency, that the association is unable to come together, what do? We empower the constitution, empower the board. Most of the functionalities of the conference were empowered to the board. Most of them. Now, interestingly, when the board came up, after everything was done, and Nigerians are very smart people. After we were done with that, and then the structure, everything came in, there were certain educated people that got on the boards, very smart people. They decided to make rules for the board. And in the rules for the board, they went farther than that. They went way, way beyond like what we, in our own little mind, total mind, whatever mind we had, what the reason why we were empowering them, they went way beyond that in the rule for the board. They said in the board rules that any part of the Constitution that is silent on any issue, the board rules and the board have the power to implement that particular silent issue. So for example,
that because I had the board, I had Mr. Cohn, I had the board leadership on my,
and Mr. Cohn
and Mr. Cohn quoted that particular article in the board rules.
I knew Mr. Cohn.
Yeah. He said this is silent because you know what they were thinking? They removed those guys. Legally, they have the right. People arguing you have no right to appoint. Okay, now the convention and the election is on the 14th. We're meeting on the 13th, on the Saturday. Then Sunday, the election. We're not going to go to the convention on Saturday. Then we start electing election commission. What time do they have to work for us to have election the next day?
You know, long time ago, when we were putting this together, Mr. Jela Nyanu, who is in Philadelphia right now, at that time, he was president, get out, become president again. But he stated something to us one time. He said, this organization, because many of us consider this organization as a family organization. Mm-hmm. And if you read some of the terms, the language in the original draft of the Constitution, you will recognize some of the language that was used in there, strictly based on family organization. But Mr. Yonu says something that one day this organization going to grow. Yeah, it's not going to be Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey.
Going to go right now. Because Michigan gets out of there, so we got 22 chapters, 22 states.
For this reason, those of you that are doing this constitution, you have to look farther, way beyond than just us here. Yeah, right now we do this thing. After that, tonight we'll go have party. We finish, everybody going home. But those days, they just what? Ohio, New York, New Jersey, what's the other state?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. That was about it. That was about it. And the only reason Ohio was part of that because we had Gay Breeze, Samson Tor, Ase Soba, Mike Soba, were living in Ohio at the time. And that was it. That was another guy, Ogawa Do, the late Ogawa Do, were part of the Ohio branch at the time. So when we went to the conference in Philadelphia, I was selected to represent Ohio. But it was not. We never thought of it as being this huge.
Yeah, we have involved now. The organization is very big now.
Right, but I think we did our best.
You did your best
to make sure that these things, because we left room for whoever come after us.
They amended it 2010, I think.
Right.
It was amended. Yeah.
Right.
So and then this going on, Kai did the amended version now that brought this too much argument to over there.
We'll get to that. But anyway, so that's fine. So I think the board, and then again, I'm not a lawyer because the lawyer can get hold of the Constitution and tear it apart if they see it fit. I'm not a lawyer, but I think the board in their right mind, the fact that they in their board rules, which is also recognized by the Constitution, by the way.
Yeah.
It says whatever issue that comes out and is silent in the Constitution,
can use the rules.
The board has the right to implement whatever rule they see fit. And it's deeper than that. So So unless those kinds of issue can be discussed honestly, because now we have, it was not those days. And those days, something told there ain't no book. But now we got real crown people
No,
that
you
know
guys did
book.
a very good job with the Constitution here. I mean, it's there. That's what guiding
Right.
us, even though there were little things that were
I'm
amended,
saying now,
but that's what guiding the organization.
right. If
So
you're
you did
young
a very
people
good
now,
job.
you're young people now, you know plenty book. So these bold rules and things, you need to revisit those things. If you want this organization to stop all of the rigmarole, these rules must be revisited. And don't bring people who is all, as Samson told, to revisit these things, because then I will come back with my own 1980 ideas. Bring somebody who is young and see the future right now. Somebody
Yeah.
who is playing with electronics. Somebody
Yeah.
who see the future. Bring that person. Let them bring some of their idea to see if it can be implemented into this granular association. Now, obviously, you expect people like Eric Kahn to argue this point, because it was people like Eric Kahn who's been holding this constitution for a very long time. So,
Yeah.
anyhow, I have no fault with them on that, and I think. What I've always stated, and I will say again, respect is very, very important. Now, I think if the election commissioner and the board have had respect for one another, I don't think they would have gone that far. I think the rule have been implemented easily, and the board perhaps would have given them latitude to do something. But some of them, I know some of them, they like the big chest, you know, and the board too have to stand their ground. So, but anyway, thank you for
And one of the last letter that brought about this impeachment, because in one of the board meeting where his dropped, the board they split when they brought it on the floor. They split. You had the gentleman from Illinois, the gentleman from Iowa, some groups signed with the board with the commission that we got to let these guys to do the job. We don't have to interfere. But the last letter that the board wrote, because the chairperson said when they put the letter in the chapter, she said there are few words, 5 words. These words are too harsh. Take them out, and then we can take these words out. Look, I put the letter back in our chat. Then we send it to the board. But she said all of a sudden, that letter went directly to the board, and she was shocked. The chairperson now. So there was strong words, and when they brought that letter in front of the board now, when they met and they read the letter, those people who were even defending the board said, "Oh, so these guys who were defending the commissioner, they said, oh, so the guy really mean to do this." So the board had to stand the ground, and then they took that decision. So they had no one talking for them again in the midst of the people.
I see. Okay. Let me just say this here, then we can go on to the election. One of the things that I thought Grand Jury Association in America to be very important, and when Mr. Collins was running the association, I think he understood that squarely. And I think because of that, he decided to do all he can to make sure the Grand Jury Association is relevant, not just here in Americas, but also relevant because we have relevant back home. And it was. And when Madam Connor came in, she started that process. But then, because of the Tabata we have among ourselves, when she went to Liberia with a delegate to meet the former president, while she was there, the Glay and other people decided to write the president of the Republic of Liberia, telling the president of the Republic of Liberia that this delegation that is coming over there headed by Mr. Matakana was illegitimate, was not legitimate, was not elected, because we have this.
Oh, wow.
And it was a mess. And this is why up to today's date, I really have no well, it's been a long time now, so my anger towards Bull Unit has subsided a little bit. But I still will not do business with him in terms of political business with him, because I don't trust him, to be honest with you. I was serving as the secretary of education, or chairman of education, and Ramsey Wright, I believe, was serving as a Ways and Means committee chair, and Bo Unit was the vice president at the time. So when the news hit us, Bo Unit called Ronson Wright and myself to a meeting and said, I'm in school and I'm doing a lot of work right now. So you and Ronson Wright try and respond to these people and respond and you can just take full whatever it is. So we did. When we did that, we wrote and then we disputed these people. They find out that Bo Unit name was not on it. This is how smart Nigerians are. They say, oh, the two committee chair, they come to try to take power from us. They took us to the board. And the board had a meeting and they asked, who gave you guys the power to write this? So we explained. We had the okay from the vice president. They called Bo Unit. Bo Unit said, no, I don't know anything about you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so right there and there, I said, okay. I mean, I'm a man. What, do whatever you want to do. But I said, okay, I take full responsibility. I Samson to take, if you guys want to expel me from the association, do so. I take full responsibility of it. But I know we had a conversation with the vice president. And the board went to their meeting and they came back. They said, okay, the fact that Samson Toh are taking full responsibility of this whole thing, and we know this thing happened, let's forget it. Mr. Toh, we appreciate your candidness, your honesty. Mr. Rancy, thank you very much for you guys being honest with us. We appreciate it. Let's move on. From that point on, I really stay away from Bo Unit. I really want nothing to do with Bo Unit, nothing. And I think he proved me right when he became the board chair, and there was a serious issue with him and the administration and what have you, whatever it was. But I think those are some of the things. So Grand GEDEH Association, Mr. DORBOR, has been a very, very, very problem organization, to be honest with you. They always take the ball, for example, the election that happened, for example, right now, and Madam Paul won the election. So what the most likely, and I don't know what is going to happen, but they tired people and everybody, they go, okay, let's go on the board. And they put people on the board that represent their interest. And so now when they get on the board, then they started putting roadblock on the operational aspect from the administration. So the board then becomes like opposition to the administration. It's
to the administration, yeah.
It started with my brother Steve Bullock. Yes, Steve Bullock, who was the board chair at the time, and because he was not, people didn't agree with some of his policy that was in line with the administration. They decided the chapter leadership in Philadelphia, okay, the best way we can do the board, let's record him, and they record him. So Grand GEDEH Association has been a very, very, very problem organization, my word. But go ahead, take us to the election now.
Yeah, so I said we had 1,200 registered, almost 1,200 registered voters. That the names that you were submitted to the administration, and they passed it down to the election commission. So we went into Iowa last week on the 12th. People started around. We had a welcome night, and it was all music and people dancing and not a lot of speech, when you meet on the first day. So everybody left, and then they came back the next day. They went to a different hall for this the program now, the morning section and the evening ball. So we went to the hall. The president and his cabinet on the other side, the board chair and the co-chair on the other side, and then Gabriel Myers Jr. with the MC,
right,
called the president out. But now, before we even went into Iowa, the Edo Council came in play now, where they wrote their letter and said that they should cancel the election and then have an interim body that will lead us for 2 years. So we should cancel the election and then have interim. Either say, but Why would we cancel the election? Because they say they don't want wet ballot. People, a lot of Nigerians say they don't want wet ballot. So either say, but it's not my fault. They told me to replace my vice president. I replaced my vice president. Told me to replace my chaplain. I replaced my chaplain. So why you want to use people not replacing their people, and then you want to bring it? So so the board said we're going to have election. The election commission, the Madam Emilio Bear group were ready. Boti said he was still in the race. Otavio Gilman and the Josephine Slew, they withdrew. They say, okay, we understand that we did not hold any administrative position in our states. So we're going to leave. We're not going to go further. Ibote agreed that since they disqualified him, he took a case to the board disqualified him. It's like the Supreme Court, now the board is like the Supreme Court, so he's going to be okay and he's not going to contest. Boti said he was contesting. Ide said she was contesting. The board, the commission recognized Ide. They didn't recognize Boti because they disqualified Boti based on the convention attendance of 2 conventions. Boti said he went to 1. So according to the interview Daniel Fremont had with Boti, so the board, the election commission disqualified Boti and Dawu Kamara. They gave them time to replace. They said no, they were still going. So they went. So obviously now Nigerian started to say we got 2 election commission. Gibson Jeru and Nelson Gay, Stanley Flying, and Urison kept telling people that the commission stand. While either or the one that the board registered, the board recognized, say so. Obviously, we went in there into Iowa. We had a boogie on Saturday, Friday night. Saturday, we went to the convention. Everybody seated. People paid the money. They went in the place. And then programs started going until they came to Item 10, the Constitution amendment process. Kayure came up. He read the amended part of the Constitution, and people wanted to ask Kayure in the audience to at least vote on some things. Kai said he was not taking questions from people. He finished reading everything. He turned the Constitution, the amended version, he turned it over to the board because you see the board elected him in Minneapolis. So he have done the job. He called his colleagues that he and them working he and those guys working, called their names, and then he said it was Dennis Boy, Anthony Tuer from I think it was 4 or 5 people. After that, he said, board, this is the work that he told us to do, and this is the work. In that version, that one, now the board will not have two board members from each state. We're going to have 1 board member from each state. So to bring the board members now to 22 instead of 44. So there were a lot of things. And then one in there too, they wanted the conference to elect 9 board members. But he said it has to be region, where they're going to have the region vice president, this and that. So they struck that out. So therefore, it went out with electing 9 board members, which of course to me, I thought that if the conference is going to let 9 board members get into the years, they're going to be perfect. But he said, strap it out. Each state should send 1 representative on the board. So make the board members 21. Very huge again. So after he gave the report to the board, his constitution amended version to the board chairman came on the floor, Omega Kala. He said, Mr. Owure, thank you for the job that you did for us. We received your job. Then he turned to the body and said, he's going to appoint some committee members that are going to look into this work that Kai did, 40 days, and they're going to put it together. Then at the next convention we'll pick North Dakota. The next convention going to North Dakota. Then that one will be implemented there at the North Dakota convention. The whole crowd broke loose. They said, no, we should vote on it now. It should be voted on now.
That's the conference demanding.
Yeah, the conference. But there were some people who said North Dakota, and some people said, when you look in the crowd, those who said now, and standing on and were demanding now were plenty more than the people who wanted A to B to North Dakota. We got turn the camera around. You see the video? I went around, people's now, and they came on the floor. Some people trying to grab the mic. It was very uncivilized and these are grown folks grabbing the microphone from the chairman hand. When they grabbed the microphone from the chairman hand, he left, he went in the back, and he sat down, he went to his seat, and the whole thing now went or had to scatter or wherever people were not listening. And later on, James Ibote came and took the microphone. He said the conference will decide. The conference, the highest decision-making body. The constitution come now to the conference must decide now. So it was no order in the place. Other people say now, the other people say, people, if I don't know if you saw the video, but you see the video.
Yeah.
People going all over the place. So the chairman of the board went outside and called the cops. The police came. They didn't understand why they called them for the yesterday. I don't know what kind of info to get them on. The police came. The three guys that entered the building, they were partly confused. So they wanted to get clear understanding. Asked for the president to show them the James explained what happened, that we're about to vote on our constitution, and the other people agreed that we should do it next time with other people. So the police said, can you just vote on it now? So the police stood by, and then they wanted us to vote on it now. So when Myers took the microphone, he said, those who want the constitution to be amended next year should stand up and put your hands and put their hands up. And then later on, he said, okay, then the police said, I think the police said, those who want it now, let it go outside. Then the poor inside will count them. Then the other ones I will know. Then we'll count one, But then nobody went out. He got up. He said, the constitution, according to the number. Then he said, those who want the constitution to be amended now should leave the building. People were still standing around. Few people walk outside. Later on, he said, the constitution is amended, blah, blah, blah. This stands here now. The constitution is amended. And the part that Caillou read in that process, he said that when we get 21 to 22 vote members, it will take 30 days. The new president will get to the chapter's presidents so they can elect their new board members in their states and then send the board members in 30 days. Then in 15 days, making it 45 days, this current board headed by Omega Kala will pass all information, all document over to the new board. So after the police work, in 45 days. When the lady down, the building owner, I don't know how she got involved. Somebody called her, or they said somebody called her. I don't know, but that's what we heard. The lady came, she got angry, the police talked. She said, they got to leave on my building. They got five minutes. They got the thing they're doing, they got 5 minutes to get out of here. And later on, the police said, the woman said, "You won't get a building, so you'll leave a place. You'll leave." I threw everybody out. The poor was out. People, the police came in the parking lot. They say, "You're getting your cars, you'll leave." Everybody left. It was around 3 going to 4. People left. Then when we left,
4 in the morning,
4 p.m. I said, well, at the 10, we're not in the program, we're not in the sheet.
Yeah, that's
4
right.
p.m. The poor outside, almost 4 p.m. The poor outside. We left. Everybody left and went to the various areas. Then Isaac Carr, the vice president,
former vice president.
Yeah, the former vice president, Isaac Carr, got news that he was calling people so they can group, so they can make the decision, because nobody knew what was going on in the night. Nobody even knew what was going on in the next day. So they can come the leadership. He called the eminent council. He called the administration, Mr. Ubote. He called the board. They met to one Prince Vlad's house in the man's basement, so they can find common ground and tell the people of the ground, because everybody waiting, they're watching for what the president would say, what the people would tell us.
Right.
We all were waiting. They met in there. Later on, Mr. Ubote got us little small hall through the help of Chele Jiroga. So they met, and they did not come to one conclusion in that place. People got mad. The eminent council left. The president left. The board too. They were the last. They left. Then in the night, the whole Jane went and did. President Ubote did a live video that he gave the address, and then we met there. where they gave the guest speaker have to come and speak that night. They give the award to the people who, and the program continued. I think it ended that night. Then they called the election commission chairperson, Madam Emilia, put it to bed to make a final announcement because everybody didn't know what was going to happen. So when she came on, she introduced herself. I'm Emilia Bear. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. First she said tomorrow at 12 noon, the polling station will open. Then she said no. She said first she said 12 to 4. Then she said, oh no, from 9 a.m. the polling place will be open at 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. But as you stand right now, only one person will be on the ballot. One qualified person is Idepoa and the whole team. They are the qualified people. We asked every other people to replace. They did not replace. So as we're leaving from here tomorrow, only Ide will be on the ballot. But from 9 to 12 to 2, if you not come before that time, you're not cast a ballot. But you got to come before that time for you cast a ballot. We're just doing the formality. Ide will just come and cast a white ballot, and then we announce her. But we need everybody to group there. And after she made that announcement, the DJ, everybody jumped up and it was like, you know, like the
election was over.
Like everybody knew now what was going to happen the next day. They put the music, they started dancing, and the president and his group, they got up, they went out, and everybody, people just started dancing in the whole place. The group grabbed Ide from the seat. They brought Ide on the stage. They start playing Ide music. They start dancing all over the place. And then few minutes, I left, and people were still there dancing. And then the next morning we met because they said the place where we had a welcome night, it was the same place for the election. It was already on the flyer anyway, so they already paid for the 2 days. So I went there in the morning and then put my camera on and start going there and start video tapping people vote. And the body cast was 169, one invalid vote. So 168 vote after the chair lady announced it. And during that process, I forget the process, during the election process, President Yubote came in the building around almost 10 o'clock. Now he came in the building. There were 2 police officers that were hired by the board to observe or whatever, keep peace that day. 2 police officers were in there. Yubote came in the building. He went to the police officers and he told the police officer to shut this thing down. This is illegal. They are not supposed to do this. It's illegal. So the police were confused. They said, what do you mean illegal? They should stop the process. So the police said, no, we can't stop the process. You can go to court, but we cannot stop this process. So Yubote people talked to him. He went outside.
I watched that.
Yeah, he went outside the building. He came back in the building later on. When he came back, he went to the police people. He told the police that they should stop this process. And this election commission, this lady should announce Idepoa because only one person in the race. So why are you wasting the people's time? Announce Idepoa, then attend over to her. They swear her in, attend everything over to her. So the police said no. The people, then the election commission said, no, the process have to continue. We said 2. We told the report 2 people coming. So the police said, man, the process have to play out. There is a process, the guy, let it play out. 2 o'clock, you can go out, you come, you want to stay, you come out. But we can't start telling people to stop. Then Yubote was there, and Otavio Gilmore talking in the back. I want to say Otavio Gilmore played a very important role. He talked to James, and then he and James walked outside, and they went in his car, in Otavio's car. So the police guy, one of the police guy even make joke. He said, why? He didn't listen to everybody. He wouldn't listen to the turning guy because Otavio is the turning guy. He said, you wouldn't listen to the turning guy. And the turning guy walk out. Who is that turning guy? I said, I don't know. He's just a friend too. Like, and maybe he's a father or whatever. And when they shot in Otavio's car, 2 p.m. when the lady announced the Idepoa as the winner, dancing all over the place. James said it was Jabba, the secretary that called in and said, well, Ide already announced and so come. And they came in, they danced with, they brought the music, brought James in, and James congratulated Ide and gave her the document or whatever thing they turned over to Ide that night. He even went to Ide's CP, where they had the Ide headquarters, to Trinitaru place, and he was there that night and asking all Granadians to rally around Ide. He said this process, people now agree, say it's not legit, it's not this, but for the sake of the organization and for peace sake, let us just give our support to EDE and move on. So at the end, James listened to his people. He did the very good thing and by listening to his people, those that were with him from the day one. And he said when he was in that car, there were a lot of calls. His brothers, because his sisters, they would only show. I saw his brother Ronald Uboti on it, or Masaye, Evo, all his family watching the thing. And say, look, you have to put our family name here. Give this thing or and leave. Your 4 years is enough. Do not spoil our family. So his brothers call him from everywhere. And then he listened. He went inside the building. And the people brought James. He was then, eating there, but after that, everything quiet down. He gave everything to eat. The people were dancing around all the place. I even want to interview Gibson, Jerubah. Gibson said the process, he didn't agree with the process. Stanley Flan said, I don't agree with the process, but it is what it is. We got to move the community forward. And then I saw my in-law, Uriah Soon, dancing that day. You remember now Uriah Soon was one of those guys they impinged.
Right.
And when they brought a goat, they brought a soup. They said Uriah should come and dance. The people put Uriah in the middle. They were dancing. So, but still, there was Boti group that I interviewed Boti outside. He said the process is a fiasco. You don't respect the process. But then his vice president Dao Kamara said the process is illegal. If I say the process is not illegal, I'll be lying. But if whoever the people put here and say the win, we're going to bless it and move on with our organization. The president, Boti Tayon, running former or wherever you call it, running Dao Kamara from New York. That was his voice. Or you go for the tip is there. You go and listen, you hear them. So that was a peace. There were a lot of people too who said no, who resisted, but it left with the leaders now to do their job so they can move their organization forward, so they can go ahead. It's just 2 years. What you said, 2 years, 2025. You'll come together now. Saying those who they say they did not hold administrative position in the state, and Otavio Gilmore. Now he's the president for Michigan State. He registered his state, sent all the document to the board, sent all the fees. And I heard, and Josephine Slutu is now chaplain. So he can't hold that constitutional provision. And I say he must hold administrative position. He must go to 2 years. Those people have already voted you to the convention. So he went to 2019, he came to the convention. And so obviously it's going to be a battleground 2025.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dawa. Folks, again, Samson told LeBron Public Radio, the reason why we're doing this here tonight, because I thought this young man will be able to give us a true story from his perspective, and he has done that here. It took us from 2 years process and just lay it out for all of us, those of us that never had the opportunity to really get involved. Thank you, Mr. Dawa. But let's look now. I know in the interest of the association, in the interest of our people, especially the fact that the national election is coming up. So I think the idea of Grand GEDEH Association and perhaps will make Grand GEDEHs relevant in the eyes of Liberian politicians is very important. But let me ask you this. First of all, a little background here. Iowa has never been friendly, as far as I see it, with Grand GEDEH Association and Grand GEDEH election specifically. It was in Iowa where we went with the Glay and Penn Dennis election. And from that point on, Grand GEDEH has never been the same. Grand GEDEH Association has never been the same. It's always been rocky since. So for those who even selected Iowa this time around, without even looking back at history, I think perhaps it didn't do us a good favor either. I mean, I'm just saying it. That's my opinion. But
Mr. Toh, you must know now, when we go to convention, they don't select the elect where the election will go.
Right.
And the Iowa people were in number. Let me tell you, Iowa had three people on the convention. They got to vote.
Right. That means they were in
From,
number.
from Iowa to Missouri, I think 3 hours. So the people came in number. They came together. They had 3 people on the election commission: Nelson Wright, Emilio Bear, Stanley Flan, all from Iowa. Yet Iowa, the Queen County. Iowa won the Queen County. And then Iowa won where they would take the election. So Iowa was like, a lot of people don't go to convention from those states. Like Kentucky, we went in a race with Iowa. We could not stand Iowa.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, I just thought that I point out. Let me ask you this though, Mr. Double, from your own perspective again. Do you see this administration, poor administration? Do you see them having the full support of the community as time goes by, or you think perhaps other members of the community will continue to resist and thereby withdrawing their support from this administration with that kinds of feeling of illegitimacy in their mind?
Well, we will see a little resistance from the Boti Kamarak side because Gilmon, he was in there. He congratulated Edith. He's even told some of his people to come on. And if you want to vote for Edith, go vote for Edith. But we have to attend the process. They were there. Yubote, one of the people. So the little resistance from the Boti side, she have to deal with that. And what I gathered that night was that she went at that particular night after they announced, or she drove to Boti side to meet with them. And the chairperson was not there, so but she went there. So there's something she started. She had to continue to reach out to Brother Boti Time, and reach out to Dao Kamara. They agree. They have the right to, because they feel that what happened, it is not legitimate. So you either have to do a lot of talking.
So one of the other issues, I remember the last time when she was seeking the presidencies of Grand GEDEH Association, I believe one of the issues she wanted to have mentioned or try to resolve was this split with our brothers in the GGAD group. Do you think that group, having had these kinds of experience this going weekend, this past last week or so, with these kinds of tabata that happened, do you think the Honorable Fred Guyon group, do you think that will entice them now to say, well, let's try to see if we can open some sort of a channel of communication to see if we can merge once again? Or you think that will embolden them and make their position stronger in terms of negotiation?
Oh, Mr. Guyon was not at that program, but those, when I made the backbone of Mr. Guyon, I saw them in Iowa, Des Moines. I saw them, permanent member of the GGAD. They were there. They didn't like the way how things went. They wanted everybody to go to the polls. They wanted everybody to go vote. But I saw them there. And this coming June 10th, I think 11, 12, like that, the GGAD is still meeting in Iowa there. We want to bring on Mr. Guyon to actually know what's actually going on, what he's going to discuss at that convention. Is he going to discuss merging with his coming back, peace? So those are things that we try to get on to talk to Mr. Guyon to know about his organization. There is no way now anybody can say, oh, we don't respect these people, or they're not legit. They're there. You can't get away from, we cannot get away, do away with them. They are there. We have to, the new administration need to start this negotiation to see how things can come into play with our brothers. I saw Madam Muna Tade at the hall dancing. I was joking, say I put on the video. I said, put my own man on the video. And she said, yeah, you take me and put me on the video. I hear to the program. She was there. So yeah. You want, the chairperson or chair lady of the GGAD.
Right.
So
you've been interviewing permanent Granadians. You've been interviewing, and that's one of the reasons why I asked you to have a conversation with you, because it seems like you have a pretty good insight or pretty good handle of what this association is up to. So, from those permanent Granadians that you have talked to, many of them former leaders and what have you, what is the overall? What do you, from your perspective, which way they think this association is supposed to go? Which way they're leaning? I mean, what are their suggestions overall in the average? What is the common threads in all of these suggestions they're bringing in?
Well, they especially from the former leaders, the former board chair, the former presidents, they all wanted an interim leadership. They wanted interim leadership. They thought that interim leadership was going to bring about peace among the whole groups, the two groups, I mean. And the people, the board did not agree with that. They have now this president. So I have to go back now to go and interview them. You know, we just left from there a week now.
Right.
So we got to let everybody sleeping door lie. Then we try to get the view. We don't know, maybe it will change or they will stay on what they said first. But the GGAA program, I think I will try to get to Mr. Boyan to bring him on my show to know what actually they're going to sit there and what actually they're going to discuss there. Because I saw him talking about he posted on Facebook, looking for some people to sit on the panel to discuss peace. He put a whole agenda for the program. Peace is there. Unity and peace is there.
It seems to me that Mr. Guion, Honorable Guion and his people are pretty much on board with this peace initiative among us. But I'm not too sure if they will be bamboozled into accepting just any peace process. They have gained some relevances in the community. And I think for anyone to dislodge them from that position, you're going to have to offer something that will be of big interest to his supporters, and also his people must feel that whatever you're offering them going to benefit Grand GEDEH overall. Mm-hmm. And I'm not too sure if Madam Poor administration will be willing to kettle into whatever suggestion. For example, will she be willing to say, for peace sake, we will let the community to select leadership? And one of the things Nathaniel Crypaw suggested the other day was that to have all three of the districts, their leadership sits in on the interim leadership of Grand GEDEH Association, where they will not be operating on the constitution of Grand GEDEH Association, except as member of interim government. But when that happens, most likely you will have to suspend the constitution in order for these district leaders to function, because their functionality will not be compatible with the constitution, as I'm suggesting. Therefore,
they even put and Kai put it there for the district, the bar zone, Chien and the Kunebo to sit to make a constitution about the poor. I think they didn't agree on that, so they strapped that.
Right, and it was going to be complicated anyway, and it is complicated. But I'm not too sure if Ms. Madam Paul will be willing to do that. And now that she has fought for this position, this is most likely, I think, her third
to have
time.
The districts. You mean to have the 3 districts?
Yeah, yes, to have the 3 districts, because you're not going to say they're neutral at this point, because many of the district leaders have been they have taken side during the
the Chien district president was the campaign manager for Boti Time.
Right.
And I saw Jerome from Barzon also with the Kunembo president, Madam Witty. I don't know who actually but she was there.
Right.
She and Hosmer voted that day, but I don't know if they were on either side or whose side they were on, but they were there. Well, Victor, where I got this, you and this guy was the campaign manager for Bochi or
Right.
Samuel Jira,
Right.
President Jira.
So their involvement is you can't ask for neutrality in this process. I don't think that will work.
No, you
But
can't do that.
what I do believe, and then I won't even fault her if she doesn't even agree on that. But I think until we have that understanding among us, because we have Mr. Guerra and his people, they are doing fantastic. They are doing well. The
They are
organization,
doing well, yeah.
they have no reason. It's not like they're in need of membership. They have, I mean, unless for the benefit of Grand GEDEH, overall Grand GEDEH interest, there's nothing in there that you would say is something that perhaps can entice them to come back to this association. Here you are. The association, this election was not smooth. So what is there now to make them to come back? Because when they come back, they'll say the same way they robbed us before, they're going to rob us again. And we just saw the example here, and the people are now quite ready. So, Mr. Double, this is going to be very rocky for us for some time. My only interest is to see this association stand together so that we will be truly recognized by the Liberian people back home and even the Liberian government. Because Grand GEDEH County is not a county that you can sneeze at. We're not people to be around. But those kinds of, I'm not talking about war situation. We have some serious educated, young educated like Grand GEDEHans that are doing well in this community, in the Liberian diaspora, doing excellent for themselves and their family. And they are also engaged in terms of, on some of them are very engaged on an international level. So they've done their homework, they're ready. But that this association, which is pretty much like the umbrella association for the entire Grand GEDEH diaspora in terms of sectional organization from Grand GEDEH and what have you, they have to stand straight. And here's the thing here also, I believe. The more the top organization, which is Grand GEDEH Association, continue to have these tabata here, the section organization is becoming stronger
and powerful. Even those little one like the Sister Bone, the PRAs, all these things getting powerful. Then the main organization is just draining down, going down the drain.
If you have these section and these small organizations start having like a brain drain, start having some serious minded people to lead them, and these section organization based on the qualified and good leaders, they start doing well. They have no reason to even think about coming to be part of Grand GEDEH Association except to have fun. But in terms of serious contribution, you're not going to get it from them. And when you start having these kinds of issues, the trust issue in the community becomes serious problem. And you have these section organizations start growing, their leadership is doing well, they start building schools, they start helping with the community back home. They will have no reason.
To go there, to come right back to the Grand GEDEH Association.
Why would Criminal District that is doing good, why would they want to come to Grand GEDEH Association and put their money in an organization that only care about Zwedru? That don't care of nothing else but just Zwedru.
Only Zwedru.
Yeah, everything else is about Zwedru. So those are things any leader in this community you will have to look at. For example, what stopped Grand GEDEH Association with that huge sums of money they have in their bank account to take $5,000? So Criminal District 5,000, Chen District 5,000, Boston District 5,000, whatever project you have, we're contributing 5,000 to that. Because the money they have in there, mind you now, the Grand GEDEH Association money come from all three of the districts. Members of that district make up the association, Grand GEDEH Association. So for them to think the money belongs to them, it's wrong. They should come back when you get the money. You say, okay, let's go back to the district because these are the people that are supporting this association. These are the backbone of this association. Without Criminal District, Grand GEDEH Association is nowhere. Without Boston District, Grand GEDEH Association is nowhere. Without Chen District, Grand GEDEH Association is nowhere. So you can't sit in there and get all that money. Then you say, okay, that's it. I'm going to go do my own project. Well, I think this is something that we're missing. But Mr. Double, I want to thank you very much, Chief, for coming on tonight. I know usually you have your own show and what have you, but to even take your time to educate us here tonight, it's wonderful, wonderful thing. We will continue to look up to you, continue to do what you're doing. You're gathering information. I think many of your peers will perhaps be jealous of you at this time because you're pretty much like a encyclopedia of Grand GEDEH Association. So you are much, much more knowledgeable with this association than anything else, anyone else. So I want to thank you very much for this wonderful, wonderful conversation. From time to time, we will continue to come to you because I know very well that some of us are getting off the stage little by little. I'm not quite ready yet, but as we do, it's people like you that we want, the people like you we look at, and then we feel good that the days of Grand GEDEH and Grand GEDEHs and in the diaspora and the Grand GEDEH in terms of information process, the date of Grand GEDEH Association, everything else is way, way ahead. We're not moving backward. I think people like you, people like Alex Yala, people like J.J. Dennis, and the rest of the young people are continuing your best to make sure this association do well and stands. Today, again, I read an article by Jonathan Gageway, who are called the fierce defender of Grand GEDEH and all things Grand GEDEH, responding to Prince Johnson Tabata. He was talking today, yesterday, and I appreciate Gageway. He has done that for many years.
Yeah.
He is now
rude. I started following Gageway from 2006, I think.
Right. He's not rude.
That's a very long time.
He doesn't insult, but he started with Front Page Africa. He responds to them intellectually. And that's the only way. You don't go insulting, you don't go cussing.
Nobody calls this time. Yeah.
No, he responds to them intellectually, and then the intellectual community will read that, and they will know that you're making sense and you're making your point clear. And I think if we have people like Gage, you will continue to defend us on the national stage. I think we're doing good. But I want to thank you very much for your time this evening. Is that your closing point here, Mr. Dawa?
Tomorrow I'll try. I guess we'll continue the process. We'll get to the aggrieved. We'll get to those who are celebrating and those who are not, to have them on and get to there and actually know what they actually want. Like the voting side, I asked him if he will be willing to have a one-on-one with me. He says he will look into it. And I wanted to get to Madam Idepoa. I even want to get to the commissioner, the ex-commissioners, and see how we can come and discuss this thing and make the organization great. Move on with this organization. That's what we continue to do.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask
thank you, Mr. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to do numbers tonight. I will call you again once you have most of the thing pretty much nailed down. We will ask you to come back again and give us a wrapping conversation on that to wrap it up. And then at that time, we will have to open the line for questioning and things like that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Blabu.
Okay, thank you. Good night. Again, folks, Samson to LeBron Pablito. Yeah, and thank you. That's a good point. But anyway, folks, Samson to LeBron Pablito. As usual, this is very interesting conversation here tonight with Mr. Prince DORBOR, who agreed to give us a whole long night here tonight. And I'm very proud of the young man to be able to narrate these things in other words he has in his mind, everything. You saw when he did the interview. I mean, it was not like he was making reference to book. These are things that stuck to his mind. And these are people we have in the community, and we're very proud of them. Again, I want to thank Jonathan Gageway. I mean, I'm not surprised. Jonathan Gageway has been doing this thing for a very long time. When Grand GEDEH was illegally thrown in jail, Jonathan Gageway was in the forefront Yeah, I'm not surprised of his fearless defending, intellectually defending Grand Gideon and Grand Gideon pride. So anyone you're out there, you think say you can just can't say anything about Grand Gideon and Grand Gideon, Grand Gideon and Grand Gideon people. You got people now. You see, this is what you guys need to understand. We're not. It's not like those days where we have to wait for BBC to talk for us. No, we got young people, not old people like myself, or Mosha, but we got young people, highly educated, highly sophisticated. They will deal with you intellectually. You come like Prince Johnson coming talking that tabata, you come and say that thing, go read Jonathan Gage your piece, and you'll be surprised. You know, this is how you deal with it. You know, so we're not going to be here for the whole time tonight. Tomorrow though, we're going to be out here, and I'm going to seriously get into the Spring Johnson and the how they call it, the riot or whatever you want to call it, the 7 things. And the man invited people to say, "Oh, come to my church," and people go to church. He said, "Oh, the people want trouble." I will be here tomorrow and I will discuss it. Now, Saturday is going to be a very interesting one. We will be hosting the Saturday 9 a.m. and we should be 12 p.m. Eastern time. We will be hosting 4 p.m. Liberian time. We will be hosting the president of the Liberian Engineering Society, Dali Toll. President Toll, who is the president of Liberian Engineering Society in Liberia, is an engineer as well. And we will want to have a serious discussion with him on some of the things. And interestingly, of course, he's a civil, but interestingly, he's also a construction manager. And I want to pick his brain as to why, if we have their brain set like that, why would we have the issue, so much bad issue with the Ralphie Highway and other area that I saw that are not up to par in terms of construction process, construction procedures. And then we have the minister, who is also a member of the Liberian Engineering Society, will go on media platform to make a pronouncement as though the things are going well, when we know things are not going well in terms of construction and even design and what have you. So I hope to have President Toll here, and I've been trying my best to lace with the minister, but these are big shots, and I want to stay away from them because the election time. I don't want her to come out here and talk all politics. That's not what we want to do. When we have the engineer here, we want to talk about engineering. Some of the things I'm going to try to find out from President Toll, why would they allow the likes of Edwin Snow, who has no engineering experience, no engineering background whatsoever, to lead the engineering sector from the Senate? Why would the Senate not find someone who has the engineering knowledge, at least to be able to lead the engineering sector in the Senate? So those are the questions we're going to be talking about. I want to thank all of you specifically tonight. I want to thank Prince DORBOR for coming out here and giving us all of this wonderful, wonderful things. Mr. DORBOR, please continue to do that. We appreciate that. Many of us, even though you don't think we watch you, we watch, but we appreciate you. And then, folks, Samson Toll, Liberian Public Radio. Let me get out of here and get ready for work tomorrow. Thank you very much, and thanks for watching. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. Monday evening, let's continue to pray for one another. Let's continue to do what is right. There's something somebody said one time. To do right, it's not just doing it when people are looking, but doing it when people are not looking. To be truthful, it's not doing it just to say you're truthful when people are looking. Do it when people are not looking. Between you and your God, then you're very truthful. If you say something like, wow, it just happened to me. You say something and your heart is certified deep inside of you. As I was getting ready to say it, my heart just went, certified. When you say something and deep inside of you, you're certified with what you're saying, that means between you and your God, you're okay. But when you start saying something, your heart start going back, yeah, don't say Samson till Monday afternoon, folks. I want to say thank you very much for staying with us tonight. We say good night. We'll be here tomorrow for the live. Sometimes I amaze myself, folks. I'm serious. But anyway, I want to thank all of you again tonight and say good night, folks. Good night.
Diable, hein? Le cabas bayo la commence à dire ya Américain pas l'eau. C'est au tisoué ma, encore une fidèle qui. L'Américain pas l'eau que yo. Quand il a Sylvie, il a quoi que j'ai loupé presse. L'Américain pas l'eau que t'as bien de moi avec moi une en son ma pour moi bâti au moins néo. Mon temps dit est à mon mouillé, on s'est abattu pour moi dit pleurer. Tu vois, là le caillou. Quand vous soyez du loin, allez, envoyez, bâti au loin, et là-haut, abela le caillou, mi vito jogbaye, mi vito inomba, artiste mon caillou. Manager Gigi, moi je peux jamais forcer ou si tu connais, tu connais. L'animateur Choco, Inoscan Yassin de Toyebli, l'homme a tout fait pour mi vito.